whom would assist you to become a better person. Number 3 is to accept criticism, which is something that by human nature, our ego would tend us to stop or not to accept that fact of accepting criticism. When somebody comes and criticizes you, you should be humble enough to accept the criticism and really try to take it as an advantage that somebody's telling you something about your own self which you are not really aware of. Number 4 is know the importance of having good manners, which we spoke about during the lectures. And last but not least, to follow the footsteps of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because when you read his biography and you see how did he used to deal with enemies, with his friends, with his family, and they were the first people to attack him, you will understand how grateful and how important this topic is. May Allah reward you all, and I hope that you have learned something new about Islam, which usually you will not get in introductory even books. You will not see that how important this aspect is. And even Muslims, and even my own self, not to be pointing at others, I believe that this is the most difficult struggle in life. I swear to God. I got used, since I was born, I pray. This is something that our parents teach us. We start fasting for a couple of hours, then half a day, then a full day by time when we are kids. So the forms of worship, you get trained to when you are a kid. It doesn't become difficult. Yes, for new Muslims, when they come, they say, my God, I need to wake up at 4 o'clock to pray. My goodness, that's very difficult. I sleep late. But believe me, once you finish this phase, the most difficult thing is to perfect your manners and to become an ambassador of Islam. I hope you found it useful, and the floor is open till we are done with the lecture with questions, whether related to this topic or any other topic that you need me or my brothers over here to clarify.
فاضل 20 دقيقة نسجل الأسئلة والأجوبة ولا بلاش؟
There's water for everyone, by the way. Yes, sir.
Yes, I understand that even within the Islamic community,
Yes.
there are some who are called Sunnis,
Yes.
and others called Shias.
Correct.
And they don't seem to be
Coming together.
treating each other well in the manner taught by Muhammad.
Yes.
Why do you think that is the case?
Okay. Very good question. First of all, part of the question is true and part of it is not true. Or in other words, let's not generalize.
Yes.
Because I myself have been surprised that in so many lectures, when we speak something about Shia, I will find somebody raising up his hand. He will say, brother, by the way, I'm a Shia, and this is not true or this is true. So I never knew that actually they're part of the Sunni community, because the majority of the people here are Sunni Muslims. And Shia is a sect in Islam. And sometimes we deal perfectly together, we're good times and friends, and sometimes it's not. The reason why people hate, or when it comes to hatred, is again, media, 1. 2, corrupt scholars. Corrupt scholars. You will find scholars standing, on the pulpits and in the mosques and giving lectures about our enemies, the Shias, and on the other hand, they would say the enemies, the Sunnis, and the Muslim scholars, Sunni scholars would say they are disbelievers, and the Shia would say disbelievers. Fair enough. I don't want to argue about who's right and who's wrong. But something that both teach is good manners. Something that both teach is tolerance. So the teaching itself is what I have taught you. The same what I have taught you over here is the same what the Shias believe in. So when people don't follow this, it's because of certain scholars. Let me give you an instance. In Egypt, I'm from Egypt, and you know the events and the political situation in Egypt now. There have been videos on Facebook that I have personally seen for Muslim scholars saying, let's go and burn those churches, and people are, and some people are really so excited about it. While, something that I didn't mention, for example, in Islam, look at what Islam teaches during the time of war. And it's there, by the way, in the lecture that the handout that I gave you. Abu Bakr, the first caliph of Islam, when he was leading the Muslims and the armies used to go to war, he would give them his advice or instructions. And he would say, listen to me carefully, to the army commanders and the soldiers. You are going to go to war. Do not kill children. Do not kill women. Do not kill elderly. Do not kill the animals and do not cut trees. And this is who? The enemies who are going to war. And do not scare them. Scare them. And you will find people who are staying full-time in the places of the worships, which are monks. Do not kill them and leave them alone. So when I hear this scholar saying this, and I follow him, that's because of my ignorance about Islam. If somebody had basic knowledge about Islam, in that crowd they would say, hey, where in Islam does it say that we should go and burn churches? Do you get my point? So he himself, because he has a long beard, he wears in a certain way, and he gives lectures, so people would tend to think that he's the scholar of the world. On the other hand, I have seen videos for priests standing on trucks and having a lot of crowd with them, and let's go and burn those Muslims like they have burned our churches. Well, we all know that there's a verse in the Bible that says, love your enemy. If somebody hits you on your cheek, give him the other cheek. So where is this? Why is it not being implemented? It's because of ignorance and politics. But this has nothing to do with the teaching of the religion itself. I hope that clarifies the matter a bit for you. Again, remember when I said let's postpone this till the end. The main problem with Muslims today, the majority, I hate generalizing, is the corrupt or Muslim organizations and the Muslim scholars, which is not on purpose. And let me give you an example. The oldest Islamic institute in the world is Al-Azhar, which is found in Egypt. It has been built centuries ago. And in the Sunni world, the Sunni Muslims, it is like the main minaret of Islam, and where it exports scholars to all over the globe. It's one of, it's not the, it's one of. Who appoints the leader of Al-Azhar? Who appoints? I mean, what would you expect? The Muslim board? The Muslim people? The Muslim scholars? Well, the answer is the president of the country. What does the president have to know or to do about a Muslim institute? What is his knowledge about Islam compared to these scholars? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, whom do you think he would appoint in such a critical position? A person who would obey him. A person who would listen to his instructions. A person who would say that this matter is lawful when the government wants it to be lawful. A person who would say that this is unlawful when the government wants it to be unlawful. So what they do, and not only Egypt, everywhere, is the calipers are put aside. This is what happens in third world countries. And these people with their narrow knowledge, they would start teaching others. So you are getting generations and generations of people who are not taught correctly, who are not being educated properly. And this is the result. And this is the result of what you have. On the other hand, you look at the Pope. When the Pope Paul died, who selected the Benedict, Pope Benedict? It's the top what do you call them, cardinals and the top priests of the Vatican, because they are aware and they elected a person, which is the case in Islam, but it's not the real case in the world today because of the leaders. Because of the leaders. Because they're asked, speak about this, don't speak about that, speak about this, don't speak about that. So you'll end up having these type of problems and ignorance.
But then, why is it that the other Muslims are not? Well, of course, a lot of people read the Quran too, so they can see for themselves. Look, you are talking.
I'll tell you the trick.
Talking about this. This is right. That is wrong. No, this is not what the.
Yes.
This is not
what the teachings are saying.
What the teachings say.
This is what any intellectual person would do. But the problem is, it is like, let me give you an example. You go to a doctor. You go to a doctor. And you have fair knowledge that when you are having a hot temperature or hot fever and you have your nose are running, go take Panadol, cold and flu, take this, take that, right? Basic knowledge you have. But when you go to a doctor and he tells you, no, don't take these things, take this and this and this and that, automatically what you will do, you will follow, right? This is a similar situation. That because we are not scholars, the Muslims who are here, we're not scholars. Yes, we read the Quran. I've read the Quran cover to cover over 30 times. However, if there's something that I don't understand clearly, or if I hear a scholar saying something against what my understanding, I would tend to convince myself that definitely he knows better than I do. He knows this matter more than I do. And maybe there's another verse in the Quran that explains this, and that. This is what people, lazy people, would tend to do. And what will happen?
You can check them out.
Of course you can.
Now that we got the internet.
Not just the internet. It's you can check it with anyone else.
I want to add something, if you don't mind. That the reason why we don't get a complete picture of the real teaching of Islam sometimes is because of the influence of the media. Actually, we have a lot of brilliant scholars around the world, like Dr. Zakir Naik. If you heard about him, have you heard about Dr. Zakir? You will not have.
Can you write?
Can you write on the word file? Dr. Zakir Naik, he's known as the scholar of peace. But he was prevented from entering the UK for a peace conference. So you don't get this news, you see. A person who's promoting peace, around the world, and he has been doing something called Peace Conference in India for the past few years, inviting scholars from the entire globe to promote peace in India. This year, they have banned the peace conference in his own country, and they forbade all the scholars from coming to India. The foreigners, you asking why? Because Islam is going to spread with or without Dr. Zakir Naik. They know that Islam is coming. They know that Islam is going to spread. So what they are doing, they want to prevent it from spreading by. And the same day he was banned in UK, they banned him also from entering Canada, because the Canadian Muslims were also trying to invite him to speak. So you see, only what you get, brother, only what you get on TV is the ugly face of the Muslims. You will never get
Sometimes
the news.
Not everything.
I mean, most of the news we hear about Muslims is the ugly ones. You will never hear, for example, about Dr. Amr Khalid, who went to Denmark immediately right after the Danish cartoon and all this controversy that happens around the world, burning churches, burning, killing some Danish people for no reason. This guy take the initiative to go and to speak to the Danish people and to explain to them about the Prophet Muhammad in a peaceful manner. Have you heard about that?
No.
But you will hear about somebody stupid somewhere around the world who bombed himself. That's what you will hear. It's a juicy news for everybody, but you will not get the other side. There are also some scholars who speak about some other scholars, like Dr. Wajdi Ghunaim. Whenever he hears some scholars who made mistake, he will immediately spread the internet. But this guy is an Arabic. He's an Arabic scholar. He's an Egyptian. He speaks in Arabic. He's a good friend of ours. He's our friend personally, and he always sends us emails about his videos and his recording whenever there is some scholar made a mistake. The bulk of mankind don't hear these things, but they only hear when somebody does a mistake.
Yeah, brother, I'll tell you another major reason. Islam, as I said, it's not about worshipping only, right? The presidents and the corrupt governments, they don't want Islam to prevail in their own Muslim countries. Why? I'll give you an example. When you hear the word jihad, what comes up to your mind is somebody who's a terrorist, and somebody who's carrying a machine gun and killing others, or even killing his own self with others, right? This is not jihad, and we'll talk about that later. Jihad has three meanings. I want to focus on one of them, which not a single non-Muslim will get to know from TV. One form of jihad is that a person would go to a corrupt dictator, and would tell him what you're doing is wrong, knowing that he might be killed or jailed for that. It's called jihad. So when you hear that Islam, the highest rank in Islam, in faith, the highest level of faith is a person who does jihad. The person in Islam, there are levels in faith. The person who prays, who fasts, who has good manners, who's good to others, who memorizes Quran. All these are good acts, right? The highest thing that a Muslim could do is jihad. not to kill others and not to kill himself. There are three branches of jihad. One of them is to do this. So my question is, imagine if you have true scholars, true, sincere, pious scholars, teaching the followers these manners and talking about this is an important fact. This is a threat to the dictator, and this is a threat to the government. So if people know the truth about their own religion, this is a threat for me. That's why also other governments, they don't want Islam to spread. This is one of the reasons. That if Islam spreads with its true teachings, it might be a threat for me. Because in Islam, if the leader is corrupt, you topple him. That's why what the Tunisians have done in Tunisia, and what the Egyptians have done in Egypt and the Libyans, this is jihad. This is jihad. And whoever died because of the police or the army, he has died as a martyr in Islam. And in Islam, whoever dies as a martyr, he goes straight to paradise. Straight to paradise. No questioning even. And all the sins have been forgiven. So that's why it's the highest level in Islam. So that's why Muslim leaders who are corrupt, they don't want their own people to know about Islam. So what they will do, they would select certain scholars and they would select even what to talk about and what not to talk about. So they would come and speak about manners. They would come and speak about prayers, about fasting, but about jihad? No. About correcting the leaders? No. About helping? No. About boycotting? No. So there are certain topics that are crossed that the leaders would not allow any speaker to talk about.
But still, somehow, because we now got the internet,
Yes.
people can still learn topics,
Yeah.
despite what the dictators
Of course.
dislike doing.
This is very important. What you said actually is mentioned in the Quran. We Muslims are told not to be like robots. Just listen and follow. In fact, wherever you go and read throughout the Quran, you will find these words. And ask the people who knows if you are in doubt. And verify the information if you are not sure. So we are actually told to listen, to follow the scholars, to learn from the scholars, but if we have some doubts, because we have mind, Allah, God Almighty has given us this brain to think and to reason things out. So if you find that there is something, have doubts, go and search it, go and verify the information. So, but Muslims became Imam so and so coming, okay, we just follow blindly. This is something also we need to correct. I tend to talk to the people that whenever I speak, I tell them, make notes of my verses, make notes so that, and go and verify them at home. Maybe I'm fooling you. Yes, so maybe I made mistakes. So you will come next time and tell me, brother, by the way, you said a verse like this, it's not like that. So I will learn as well. It's not about who, the matter in Islam is not about who is speaking. What is more important is who's speaking the truth. Yeah, correct. Any more questions, inshallah, by the way?
It's very, very good actually.
Thank you.
You were talking about the manner of selflessness,
Yes.
and it's very beautiful, and the examples you gave
Yeah.
with Omar and Aisha.
Yeah.
The jacket.
But no, I'm thinking of the cologne of the name. And yet, I was thinking, as I listened to that, that you have on one side the selflessness,
Yes.
on the other side, I hear Omar asking for something that
Yeah.
maybe should have been for Aisha.
Yeah.
I think about your friend,
Yes.
no offense, asking for the perfume.
Yeah.
So in Islam, when people are asking for things
Yeah.
that belong to others,
Yeah.
how is that viewed in manners?
Okay, again, that's why when I said this example about Omar, the leader of Islam at that time, whoever becomes the caliph, he has a title. That title is Amir al-Mu'mineen, and that's the Arabic word, which is the leader of the believers. The leader of the believers. And immediately, since he becomes a caliph, he gets that title. So they won't say, Omar has ordered, or Omar said, they will say, the leader of the believers said, the leader of the believers has asked. When he came to asking that question, he told his son, go tell Aisha that to Omar and not the leader, he clarified, and don't tell her the leader of the believers is asking so and so, in a form just that it's a personal favor that I'm asking. it is, as long as it's done in a polite way and in a humble fashion, it's absolutely okay. And if she has said no in a polite fashion, it's her right, and he would have not had the right to be upset about it.
But doesn't this show a bit of pride in his heart?
Of course, pride
To ask for
yes,
that spot.
yes. What is a better level and a higher level when doing that manner is without the person asking. I'll tell you a real example that I swear by God, it happened in front of my own eyes. I was living in Dubai, and during winter time, it is really cold. You know, the desert weather, when it's hot, but when it's cold, it hurts your bones, really. And I was going to pray in the mosque. And I had my car, the heater, a park, and running towards the mosque, which is also heated because it's warm. And I see the guard of the mosque was wearing a t-shirt. A t-shirt. And I'm freezing, and everyone is in coats. A man comes to him, and he, right next to me, and he said, "You're not cold?" I said, "No, I'm okay." And the guy, I swear, he just took off his jacket and gave it to me. And he said, "No, you keep it, no." He said, "No, take it, I have others at home." For 2 consecutive weeks, I go to pray there every single day, the guy didn't take off the jacket. So it shows that he didn't have anything to wear. But did he ask for a jacket? Despite that he needed it, he did not. And did the guy wait for him to ask whether he needs anything? No. He gave it without that person asking. So this is how it should actually be done. Even in Saudi Arabia, I went there to do the Hajj, and during breaking of the fast, Saudis living there, they would have some dates or bread or yogurt to distribute to the people so they can break their fast. And I have seen it, I swear. We're all sitting on the floor. Everybody has 3 dates. 3 dates in front of them. And they give you, because you have to imagine 3 dates times 3 million. So this is like unbelievable. And a person came late, and that person had 3 dates. He gave one to a person who was passing. He gave the second, and he kept one for him to break his fast. And when he saw that man who came late, he said, take, break your fast. And he didn't keep anything to himself. The guy doesn't know that he doesn't have anything. He assumed that he has already had another day. So this is basically how it should be done, without asking.
Now, just a little addition. Let me ask you a question. What would you do if your brother came to you and asked you to give him something? Anything that is within your reach, within your capacity. Will you give him freely, or you would ask him for something in return?
Probably.
You would give it to him. So that's the same concept in Islam. We are told, the last speech of the Prophet Muhammad was, all of you are brothers. All of you are brothers. Real brothers, not just jokingly. Though we are not, blood brothers, but as a community, we are asked to be one brotherhood, one united nation. And even in the same speech, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that all your properties are sacred. All your property are sacred. But the best one of you is the one who gives from this property freely to his brother. The question about the one who asked for something, whether it is good or bad, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, the hand that gives is better than the hands that takes. But doesn't mean that better in superiority or something, better in a good act. So this is, if you want an answer, the hands that gives is really better than the hands that takes. And that encourages us always to try to give something to somebody. But at certain time, you need something. Yes? Sometimes you need to eat a type of food that you really wish, and you don't have money. Bro, I don't have money today. Can you go to Burger King? We are brothers. Today he will give me, tomorrow I will give him. Something like that. Another thing I want to mention regarding the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Yes, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, this is a very beautiful situation regarding to your question. One day he was feeling cold, and he saw a lady who made some fabric, very nice fabric, and it's heavy, and the city of Medina, for those who never been there, it's really cold at night. So he told her, I like this fabric, it keeps me warm, so she gave it to him. Then the Prophet Muhammad was very happy, and he wore it all night, and he went to pray during the dawn prayer, and he prayed with it. And while going out, a man came to him and told him, "Oh Prophet of Allah, I like this garment very much." So the Prophet took it out and he gave it to him. So you see, in one action, in one day, the Prophet did the give, the takes, and the giving at the same day. And the people even accuse that man, told him, the Prophet loves this fabric so much. Why did you do that? He said, I want when I die to be buried with it. So this is how the actions between the Muslims, you have today, I have tomorrow. So gives and takes.
No, I remember also a beautiful story to show you that the scholars of Islam, they're not just teaching the worshipping section only, and they're not just verbally teaching the manners. I know a personal scholar, I know him very well. He told me that during summertime, they would take the youth, the kids or teenagers, and they would go and travel somewhere. Okay? And he said during that trip, we make sure as the scholars, okay, that we pray, we do the acts, the obligatory acts, and we also have fun. We play sports, we eat together, we drink together, but everything is still done with an intention. So he would say, we would go, for example, like 20 teenagers. And when it comes to time for dinner, we would ask everybody to sit on the floor, and the scholar would bring the bread, and he would start giving the first two people here and ask them to distribute and to share. So he said we would count how many people are there. And let's say there are 20. He said we would take out 16 pieces of bread only. 16, and not 20. And they would start watching. They're just watching, okay? Tuck, 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 and they would observe what is going to happen. And they would see that some of them would notice, and they would either spare and share, or some of them would not even notice. You understand my concept? And then they would give them a practical lesson, or make sure that what we learn is what we really implement. This is the most important thing in life, not just in religion. If you learn something good, implement it, apply it, so we can all develop and we all become better people. So this is what differentiates the majority of Muslims today. A person might have all the knowledge in the world, but he's not really practicing. And a person who might have very few knowledge, but he's practicing what he has learned, and you would love that person even more. So I hope that also adds up. Any more questions?
May I be excused?
Of course, sorry. Thanks for coming on time. Thanks. Any more questions, even if they're not related to the topic, you're free to ask. No? Yes?
Shall we ask you in return?
Thanks a lot, and for those who came late, I would like to remind, God willing, inshallah, there's two things happening. Number one, we have myself and the brother here every week, every Sunday. We conduct lectures similar to that one from 11 to 1 in the One Chai Mosque. And the One Chai Mosque from 11 to 1 every Sunday. And this is ongoing, so anytime you can come to it. Secondly, on the 30th of November, which is going to be on Wednesday, from 10:30, myself have been invited to give a talk about also Muslims in Hong Kong and the problems that they're facing, the challenges in the Hong Kong view in Pok Fulam. This is going to be at 10:30. The details, which hall and everything, it's not finalized yet. I should receive an email tonight. So if you would like to attend this one, the email is in the handouts. So just send us an email if you're interested to attend this lecture, and we will send you the details. Thanks a lot for coming. See you next week. Thank you. I mean, this.
You ask any question, brother.
What, any question?
Not a question.
I already get a question.
Yeah?
Thank you.
No, that's all.
Oh, very good. So you're going? Don't pronounce it inshallah. Okay?
You have no authority, huh? You have no authority.
Because you are not embrace Islam, why you tell inshallah?
You have no authority.
Let them practice, man.
Or you see brother, all brother accepting you.
No.
Okay, have to practice.
Slowly, slowly, inshallah.
Yes, I have that.
ठीक है भाई सर. अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
الناس بتكره الانسان الغباء.
تقول ان شاء الله ليه؟ مسلم ولا ايه؟
انا ما اكلتش غدا. غدا جيت؟
لا وانت
طب ممكن ناكل شركويتش عند الواد اسد مثلا؟ عشان انا وعدته ان انا حاجه اسلم عليه. فنروح ناكل بالمره ولا ايه؟ ناكل سندوتش هناك.
طب تقعد تسلم ولا تاكل؟
لا ما قلتلوش حاجه، قلت له جاي احكي لك تاني.
ناكل في الرخيص بقى.
طيب طب نسلم عليه الاول نقول له ازيك عامل ايه؟ طب ما هيعزم علينا بشاي وبتاع. هو بكام السندوتش هناك ده؟ يا رب.
غير اسعار.
انت قررت ما تاكلش هناك ها؟
لا باكل هناك يعني بس انتوا معايا رباط فلو مش معايا رباط بروح اكل في طب بقول لك ايه؟
يعني خطيبتك الثانيه لما بتبقى معاك ما ايه؟ تقول لي عايز ايه؟ عايز ايه؟ انت خدت قد ايه الوقت؟
53
ده بالكيو ان
ده بالانترودكشن بتاعتي اللي هي اسمي محمد.
بس يا بارده يا بارده يا واطيه.
ده مين ده؟
اللي هم بيتصلوا بيك بالبلوك نمبر.
تقول لهم انا مش لك سوري رون نمبر.
ماما لا دول بيكلموا ما بيسكتوش.
ما بيسكتوش بس انا اول ما بسمعهم بقول انجلش ثم يقول لك سوري رون نمبر.
انا ساعات بقفل عليه ما بفتحش مش عارف ليه بفتح كده. ساعات اصل البلوك نمبر ده بيبقى برضه اوفرسيز. طيب محمد الله جزاك الله خير. ايه ده؟
ناكل ولا ايه؟
انا جعان بصراحه.
المدام فين؟
المدام بقى في البيت.
مش جايه؟
انا اتصلت بيها تاني وقلت لها انت زعلانه اكنسل مع ابوكم كلكم.
مع ابوك.
قالت لي نو 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 كمل.
على ايه؟
خلاص فكره الجواز كلها مش فاهم.
دلوقتي بس وصلت للكونكلوجن بنت الكلب.
بجد والله يعني عارف خلاص بقى
صعب.
بامانه يعني والله.
يعني والله اعلم يعني بتحس الواحد ما اعرفش بس الاجانب اليوروبيانز دول الحياه معاهم
عشان الكونسيبت نفسه انت حر ولا حر؟
لا مش الحر بس السبيس بتاعتك يعني دي حاجه احنا عندنا للاسف.
لا انا ما كنتش حاسس بالموضوع اللي بعد المشكله بتاعتي دي.
الله أكبر الله أكبر.
كده احنا لبسنا
الله أكبر الله أكبر.
كل ما اسمعهم انا فاكر محمد صلاح.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.